21 minutes after 5 o'clock. Here's a story about something that we deal with every day. Packaging. Just about everything we buy comes in a package. Some stores have even been putting some kinds of bananas in bags. You know, who would have thought that a banana needed a package? I mean, they come individually wrapped. They're even joined together. You can get them in a 6-pack sometimes, and it's all done naturally. Anyway, a bag is the least of your problems when it comes to dealing with packaging. There's shrink wrap, plastic bubbles, industrial-grade twist ties. To help us break the seal on how manufacturers think, we've reached Laura Bix. She's an associate professor at Michigan State University in the School of Packaging. Hi, Laura. Welcome to Main Street.
Hi. Thank you.
I have to say, right off the top, I've never heard of a School of Packaging before.
Yes, we do have a School of Packaging at MSU. It started in the 1950s, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, you're the right person then. Why is packaging so tough to get into these days?
Well, I think there's a couple reasons that kind of incentivize the use of things that are difficult to open. One of the major reasons is something called shrinkage, which is a term that refers to general product loss. But it's estimated that 75% of shrinkage is attributable to theft, and in North America alone, retailers lose about $25 billion of product every year.
Wow.
And so what they can do is they can put an electronic article surveillance tag inside the package, which will flag the alarms when you leave the store. But if you're able to divorce that product from the package, then you can leave the store with the product without alerting the alarms.
Or what they could do is hire a little bit more staff and maybe keep an eye on things like that.
This is true, too.
That's a different interview altogether, though.
Yes.
What other things are companies trying to accomplish with this complicated packaging?
Well, I'm sure that you and your listeners realize that many things are shipped throughout the globe, that we don't manufacture a lot of things locally, and so they have to basically be able to survive distribution systems that encompass great distances and arrive in a fashion where they're pretty much ready to go. So they're ready to attract your attention at store shelf with minimal handling by store personnel. So that also incentivizes tying things down very tightly.
What other specific things are they looking for when they look at this? It can't just be the fact that they all fit in the box nicely and the guy at the store doesn't have to deal with them very much.
Well, it's been estimated that 75% of purchase decisions are made in the store, and so they want to get your attention. They want something that, in many cases, is transparent, that displays that product very attractively in a form that appeals to you, so that you'll spend your money on it.
I have a 1-year-old at home, and I've definitely noticed in the past year that quite often there's more packaging than product. Doesn't that strike you as weird?
Well, I mean, it's certainly not something that we strive to accomplish in the packaging industry, and it doesn't make sense to do that for the sake of doing it by itself. If you have more package than you do product, your cube efficiency, meaning how many pieces you get on the truck or the freight car or the ship, is going to be less per cubic foot. So doing that really doesn't make a lot of sense, except for at shelf, where they're trying to create a great big billboard and attract your attention.
Is there any hope on the horizon? Is anyone developing an alternative to these practices?
Yeah, I think so. And I think especially as people like you put this issue out there that consumers are frustrated with it, as consumers call 800 numbers, and maybe even more powerfully as they don't vote with their dollars, it becomes an issue where people, retailers and product manufacturers are beginning to address it through creative thinking. Many times they'll take a high dollar sort of item that's very small that might be prone to theft or pilferage, and they'll put it behind the shelf and make you ask for it, make you bring them a tag up and retrieve it that way. There are more creative uses of anti-theft devices, things that have to be unlocked at the register, so that you can still have that self-service model, and yet you don't have to deal with this cumbersome packaging. So I think we're slowly improving, but slowly.
Do these companies think about environmental sustainability at all?
Absolutely, and especially as that kind of pervades on the public radar, I think it's going to become more and more of an issue. I think a lot of it is driven by cost savings as well as public perception, and packaging is sort of at the interface where people see it, even though shipping costs and things like that actually may be more impactful. Because of sort of the prevalence of packaging, because of the ubiquitous nature of it, and because of the public perception issues, it's one of the first areas that gets improved as companies take up the sustainability saber.
Throw some advice our way. What advice do you have for frustrated consumers who have been wrestling with difficult packages?
I would say call those 800 numbers that are on the package. Let them know that you're having difficulty. Let them know specifically what kinds of difficulties you're having. If you're injured, certainly let them know that. It's not unheard of that people are injured when they take tools, appropriate and inappropriate, and try to get into things that are difficult.
What kind of injuries have you heard about?
There's all kinds of injuries, both with product, with package itself, and with the tools that people use, be they knives or screwdrivers. I heard a story of one person with a disability actually took a screwdriver and a hammer to relieve the pressure in her pickle jar in order to be able to get the pickles open by herself, because for her it wasn't just an issue of convenience. It was living in an assisted fashion versus living independently.
Wow. I have to ask you before you go, all excellent advice, but I need to know about your School of Packaging. One more question. What does the School of Packaging look like? Does it, do you have a large bubble-shaped dome over the school? The front door zip-tied shut?
We have a regular old building, but we have an interesting blend of people that are attracted to the discipline. People with an artistic bent are certainly attracted, but also an engineering bent, as well as chemistry, people that are interested in chemistry, because it's a very interdisciplinary type of major.
Fascinating. Laura, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's Laura Bix. She's an associate professor at Michigan State University in the School of Packaging. Unpack your frustrations about packaging on the main line, 1-888-686-6426, or you can drop us an email. We're at mainhfx@cbc.